What the world needs now is food, real food. It's the only thing that is going to nourish you. I have no illusions of being on the Idol platform, but I do like to come on singing because I love to sing, and I believe Bob from Sesame Street was right. Sing out loud. It doesn't matter if you're not good enough for anyone else to hear, just sing. Who's in that crowd? Awesome, great. I resonate with every speaker who's been up here tonight. Who else does? Yes, absolutely. Though I will say, one of my most favorite features, which surprises me as I've got older, is my breasts. And at a double D Steely, I don't want that cup to be any bigger. I moved back to Canada after 22 years in Australia 4.5 years ago. People say, why were you in Australia for 22 years? And I like to say, I stole a loaf of bread. Yeah, the Australians might be offended by that, but it's a joke. And I love that visual on Facebook nowadays that says, you know, it's got someone doing you see where all the lasers are in a room and you have to work your way around it, you know, to get through to the prize. And it says that's what it's like in 2016, trying to tell a joke that someone's not offended by. When I was in Australia, I was well known in my field, so coming back to Canada was a really scary thing, starting from scratch, so to speak. And I was well known in my area, but I wasn't famous. So people would often say to me, I would get this at least twice a week, "You look really familiar." To which my brother gave me the best line, and many of you know me, so you've heard it before, and you've actually been present when someone's come up and said, "You look really familiar." So he gave me the best line, and I have used it in boardrooms and churches and all over the place. And what you do is you look straight into the person's eye, very, very straight face, and you go, "Oh, do you watch much porn?" To which 90% of the answers are no. 7% are 1% is, well, actually, I do. One guy on the Sydney Harbour Bridge said, "I'm actually kind of known for it here." "Are you serious?" And I was like, "No." When they say no, this is what you can do. You can go, "Are you sure?" I wasn't always comfortable with my body, and certainly not making jokes about it and getting up in front of a stage. Particularly at one point in my life, I was actually twice my size, not 10'4", in case you're kind of wondering. You know, she had a massive height reduction. I used to start off the day with half a liter of Sara Lee Ultra Chocolate ice cream. I know, you're going to say, I can see some of you already saying, how did you stop at half a liter? Strength and will. Strong choices for a strong life. It was a painful time in my life. I didn't stop eating from that point on. And I was in this place of avoidance and addiction. And in my work with Return to Food and training 10,000 food coaches around the world, we're big on helping people break that addiction. Because there is the world's most socially accepted drug that's contributing to this, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that later, but I want to tell you about some chocolate cake. When I first started my cooking school, the Food Lovers Workshop in Melbourne, Australia in 1993, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Who started a business? Because they knew their soul was calling them to do something that wasn't what they were doing at the time. That thing they were doing at the time felt like prison and was killing their soul. And so they stepped out into the world to start a new business. I'm going to start this cooking school, right? And I'm sitting down at my desk in the morning. My husband's gone off to work. I've created this beautiful space to work in. And I'm thinking, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I was suffering from what I call the INGES. INGES is an acronym for I'm not good enough or it's not good enough. And so I had this brilliant flash, and I thought, I know, it's a cooking school, I'm a chef, I'll make a chocolate cake. And I went off into the kitchen because I was very comfortable there. And I started to make my chocolate cake. And I made the cake, often licking the bowl, because isn't that a wonderful thing to do? Made the ganache, made the cake, went back to my desk. Computer, God, sending out marketing materials, who do I call? I don't know what to say, oh my God. I'm making a sales call and freaking out about it, not knowing what I'm doing, and so I go to the kitchen because it's morning tea and I just need a little slice of cake. So I'd have my little slice of cake, wedge of cake, go back to my desk, freak out, find an excuse. Oh, it's a bit cold in here. I might go get a jumper or a sweater, and went to my bedroom, which just happened to be on the way to the kitchen, and have another little bit of cake. Go back to my desk and freak out, and found myself in front of the chocolate cake, and at 4 p.m. there was 3/4 of a cake gone. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do with that quarter of the cake? When my husband comes home, he's like going to see a quarter of a cake and think, what happened to the other 3/4 of it? And I didn't want to tell him, because obviously I was deeply embarrassed and ashamed, not just that I'd eaten the cake, that I had no idea what the hell I was doing, and I'd left my job, and he was paying most of the mortgage for, and I didn't know what I was doing. And so, what do you do with the rest of the cake? You freeze it. He'll find it in the freezer. Hide it for tomorrow. It smells so good with all that Belgian chocolate and Calabo and all that beautiful organic ingredients. I couldn't throw it away. I wasn't going to give it to the neighbor. And you guessed it, I ate the cake. Who here has chocolate caked it before? It may not be chocolate cake. You might like chips. You might have a salty palate. Or coffee. I know people who have 6 pots of coffee a day. Or some form of thing that we go to that's addictive. And addiction is the ultimate act of avoidance. Addiction is our body and our soul and our life telling us that we're not listening to our soul. And over the years, I've chosen different addictions. You might have a healthy addiction. And that's great, because it's much better than the chocolate cake, I promise you, which is, in North America, in the Western world, it is our national drug of choice, right? It's not illegal, as many illegal drugs are lethal. It's not legal and lethal like many prescription drugs are. It's perfectly legal, it's socially acceptable, it's cheap, it's readily available, and interestingly enough, it's made in the same way that cocaine and heroin are made, and is just as toxic and addictive to the body. May not be as quickly lethal, but I promise you, given our lifestyle stats, when I was a nutritionist, we were told that 1 in 2 people in 2020 would have cancer. It's already there, 1 in 2. We're already there. Diabetes, very close to 1 in 2. And we know that sugar is food for both of those things. You're here for something beautiful. Everyone is here with a sacred mission. And things like avoidance, addiction, sugar will impede you from getting to where it is you're meant to go. I actually used to sing that song, What the World Needs Now is Food, Sweet Food, it's the only thing that's going to nourish you. The original lyrics of the song are true. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. I'm anti-diet because diets don't work. It's about deficiency. It's like approaching finances from a budgeting point of view. It doesn't work. What we need now is to gravitate towards what we love, to nourish, energize, and protect our body, and eat in a way that's sustainable for the body and the planet, because there's no exception to that. What's good for the body is good for the planet. What's good for the planet is good for the body. And what is good for you when you truly love your body, what you eat is as powerful, or how you eat is as powerful as what you eat. So share those foods with people who you love, honor, respect, and care for. Have conversations around the table that nourish, energize, and protect you. And remember, you are absolutely worthy of listening to that mission that your soul is guiding you towards, and it ain't sugar. Thank you.